Hello everyone and welcome to the Smashi Business Show. Today is Tuesday, September 23, 2025 and I'm Abdul Majid Awan.
And I'm Warid Ahmed and we've got a packed show for you today. So first up, Egyptian billionaire Nassef Sawiris, Egypt's second richest man, is eyeing a $50 billion US infrastructure push via Abu Dhabi. Mubadala is considering a full exit from the Turkish delivery giant Getir as buyers are circling, and Prince Alwaleed has increased his stake in Snapchat despite the company's losses. And finally, Saudi Prince Khaled and Sharjah Royal have invested $680 million to build Arada, London.
And these are very big number stories basically, but Egypt's second richest man, Nassef Sawiris, feels weird to say because he was the richest and then his brother Naguib Sawiris replaced him.
He did a big one on him.
Yeah, and he's preparing to invest up to $50 billion in the US infrastructure. Infrastructure means roads, bridges, buildings, anything. Maybe AI infrastructure also. Over the next decade, over the next 10 years, the move forms part of a broader strategy to consolidate his companies in Abu Dhabi and scale operations internationally.
As reported by the Financial Times, Sawiris plans to merge OCI Global with Arescom Construction, his family firm. Now, the newly merged entity would be publicly listed in Abu Dhabi and primarily focused on infrastructure investments in North America.
And OCI Global has sold over $11.6 billion in assets in recent years, including its international methanol business. So, yeah, they're into that also. Arescom brings building expertise and project experience, positioning the combined group to pursue major US projects such as data centers, airports, and university housing.
Now, the Egyptian mogul, worth $9.66 billion, recently relocated to Abu Dhabi and Italy, aligning with favorable tax and business jurisdictions. He's second only to his brother, Naguib Sawiris, whose net worth is at $9.71 billion.
It's just a $5 million difference. It's not a big difference, but Sawiris' strategy reflects Abu Dhabi's growing role as a hub for cross-border investments. To be honest, before Naguib Sawiris, Nassef came to Abu Dhabi. He opened his family office here, and then Naguib came, and Monify came.
And Aura developers.
Yeah, and Nassef's focus combines equity and credit channels, leveraging partner funds and OCI's balance sheet to capitalize on booming US infrastructure demand over the next decade. And I think he's not the only one. The Mac Hussein Sajwani.
That's exactly what I was
already,
going to say. I was going to say that they have such a similar feel to them. You know, in the beginning of the year when we all came in, and there was that big video of Hussein Sajwani standing right beside U.S. President Donald Trump, announcing the $20 billion data center investment. And it's crazy because that actually made more headlines than this one did.
Yeah.
You know, I was even reading, I was like, oh, okay, $50 billion, you know, that really does feel easy for these people. But then it's interesting the difference that they had in the media, the difference of the poll that they had. I find that intriguing. Perhaps it's because of Sajwani's really close relationship with Donald Trump. If you don't know already, Hussein Sajwani is Damac's chairman. Damac have a really big presence, especially in the real estate world, in the UAE, in Dubai, but everywhere really. You know, they've invested into a lot of companies. But I think with Nassef Sawiris, he has the edge of being silent. And I think that's great sometimes. I really do. Maybe I'm biased. I'm saying this because I'm an Arab who believes in evil eye and not telling everyone your next move. But I think it's exciting. It's exciting to see how they go forward with this because we're seeing how with his brother Naguib, he's like, I really like Aura developers, by the way. I'm like intrigued by what they're doing because it's like, we know that these brothers, they developed such vast real estate in Egypt, in, I believe, El Gouna. So the fact that, you know, now they're here and now he's going to the US, it's like, and that word infrastructure, Majid, it's so vague. It is so vague. Like, tell us, what kind of infrastructure?
See, infrastructure is basic in very its essence. Anything that you can use to do something. So it can be this itself, this laptop, if you're looking at it, or if you're listening also, a laptop is an infrastructure. It has infrastructure, the physical part of it. So the screen, the chip inside it, the keyboard, everything, that's infrastructure, the physical things that you need to run anything. So you need bridges to run traffic, you need roads to run traffic, you need data centers to run AI, whatever models you're running on your. So there needs to be a physical something attached to infrastructure. That is what they do. And because of their experience with real estate, their experience with developing real estate projects, and not only real estate projects, their experience of building stuff from ground up, I think it makes sense. With Nassef, the funny part which I see is that he's more outward kind of an investor, where he goes out and invests. Adidas globally, 6%, he owns that. So he is more of an like, oh, I don't want to invest in the region. Even if I do, I will open a family office. If you look at the recent history, open a family office, but use that family office and that place and that whole tax environment and everything to still spend money outside of the world, because he thinks the gains are there, but the better gains are there. But with Naguib, he came here, he opened a startup. Whatever happened with Modify, I think is a little past now. It's not that old, it's a new story, but again, they're doing good again. They crossed 150K, we will soon too, but we don't do what they do. They're different, we're different. But I think Naguib is more towards the region. He invests in the region.
You think so?
He believes in the region. Because even Sky News, he bought the Sky News, mainly the Arabia part, and overall, he bought Sky News, but I think his focus was mainly to build something here.
But you know what, Majid? I think that this is very recent, because with Naguib Sawiris, obviously with Rescom, Telecom, obviously you have the three brothers, Nassef, Naguib, and Sameh, the kind of empire that their dad Ansi had built for them. It gave each one of them a subsection of the business, and with Naguib, he particularly took over telecom. And with him, actually, for the longest time ever, he took a Rescom telecom to other countries. He took it to Pakistan, I believe. He took it to Iraq. He took it to North Korea. And I was taking a look at the old Wall Street Journal's news articles on that, and I was just really surprised. I'm like, what are you doing in North Korea? Like, other people would be other people would be really afraid to step in there, and he went in there, and then at some point he had his his king moment, and he sold it to that Russian company, I think Vimpelcom, and at some point, Majid, it was the 6th largest telecommunications provider in the world. So I would say he did take it around, but I think maybe it's age. Maybe
he's following the trend. He's following the trend of investing in the Middle East in the recent past, because he knows the money is there. Very funnily, I was reading in the morning. So Money 2020 recently happened. It was a 2-day event in Saudi Arabia. The first time it happened in Middle East. 38,064 people, if the number is on their Instagram and everywhere where they've published their PRs. Funny thing was, the head of Tahaluf, which actually organizes this event and organizes other events as well in Saudi Arabia, she's a lady, and she said something very funny, and I was like, at least come up with something original. She's like, Riyadh is the capital of capital. I was like, no, it's not. We all know Abu Dhabi is the capital of capital. But it was a good event. First time trying to get 38,000 people into those doors, and in a 2-day event. It's a very big achievement. I'm not praising them because we were media partners. We were not. Most probably next year they will contact us and we'll be media partners. But the idea is that they brought 38,000 people. That's average how much? 15, like 17, 18,000 people over 2 days talking about very technical money talks. And they brought them. That means there is market for all of this. And the idea is that money is there. But Riyadh, I still don't think is the capital of the capital. Abu Dhabi is. And it was coined like a while ago. It was coined in like 2023. We did a video of where Abu Dhabi Department of Economic Development, the easier way to say it is ADED, ADDED. But their head basically said this in his opening speech, and then it caught on, and eventually now everyone calls Abu Dhabi the capital of capital. But it was very nice to see that she tried, because she's in Saudi, she works in Saudi, she's foreigner, but she works in Saudi and she wants to build Riyadh into the capital of capital. But I like the idea that everyone now connects capital to Abu Dhabi, to Riyadh, to Jeddah,
Yeah,
to
but
Dubai.
you know what? Like, Magic, just to circle back to the story, isn't it interesting how out of all times he's choosing to invest in the U.S. and America right now?
Yeah, it
You know,
makes
would
sense
you like? Would
with
we
Trump
say?
there.
I know that it just like does that seem like the smartest decision? We just saw how recently you saw that video that went
Yeah.
trending, the one about Emirates Airlines, and after that $100,000 fee application for
H-1B visas,
yeah,
yeah.
H-1B visas. After that decision came out, the Emirates Airlines basically announced to its passengers, like,
Yeah.
if you guys want to leave the plane, like, you have the opportunity. You know, at a time like this, is it the best time to step into America? Is it the best time to
It's very
pour that money over them?
tricky to understand it, but I'll try to make sense of it. Yesterday, Nvidia announced $100 billion partnership with OpenAI, so they're investing $100 billion in OpenAI. Nvidia stock rocketed. But same day, all other tech stocks were suffering because of this H-1B visa thing. And why is it happening? Because all of them bring people from outside. So the first question is, has America lost its touch? Has it lost its geniuses and they're bringing people from outside? That's the first very big question. But with Nassef, and this story specifically, he's not investing in talent, he's not investing in people. So I think for him, H-1B problem will not affect him. The only thing that's very smart is that he's investing in infrastructure. And right now, I think US is one of the ripest markets. Because under Trump, and even without Trump, US has to build a lot. Data centers is one of the biggest things. And when you talk about data centers, usually we think that one company wants to build it and they'll give contract to one company and just the process will start. It's like a whole web of companies which are interlinked. I was telling you about G42, Core 42. I recently met a person. So there's a company which hires a company, which hires a company, which hires a company. There's always so many people involved. And I think if he can get like a small piece of that pie where they're building crazy amount of data centers, he will make money. So he's looking at that opportunity from that angle. When it comes to H-1B visas and human capital, I don't think he will need any like people who are like in India or from Bangladesh or any other country which is famous for having good talent in IT or development. So yeah, physical structures, very simple to build. Just you need to have the expertise, you need to hire engineers and all that. Again, India has good engineers, but there's a lot of other better engineers. One of the events when I visited like nearly 2 years ago, I was the only, I think, journalist guy in a like whole swamp of 200 plus engineers. We were talking about oil and gas and all that. And there I realized that the best engineers in the world are from the Nordic region, from Sweden, Denmark, Poland, all that region. And they're the highest paid
And Germany.
in Middle East. No, funnily not.
Really?
So that was the conversation. I was like, Germany is famous for manufacturing. They're the best manufacturers of car parts, this, that, blah, blah. Whatever you want to manufacture, they're the best. Apparently, their engineers are not in demand. The best in-demand engineers are from the Nordic region. And it's like, why? Why would you... how does it make sense logically, right? Logically, it makes sense because a lot of them are welfare states. So they build all that infrastructure for the development of people. They'll build parks. They have experience of literally building everything because they're welfare states. So they don't charge you for schools. So their schools are actually wellness centers. They're less a school, more a wellness center. Kids don't go through exams till they're in 5th grade, all that thing. So apparently those are the highest paid. This is again an opinion that I formed when I talk to a lot of them.
I think you might be giving people ideas of where they want to move next.
If you're an engineer, those places, but the competition is very difficult there. But I think, Resh, yesterday a lot of people also did opinion pieces. There was one on Washington Post. I didn't read the whole one. I just read the X post by the person who wrote it. I don't remember the name, very difficult name. But then I kept looking at headlines, and a lot of headlines were like, what will happen now? What will happen after this H-1B visas thing, right? And everyone was like, now Middle East is going to be the new America, and this is going to be a Middle
by the
Eastern
way,
dream, not the American dream.
Like the Middle East, they
We've
found a
already
way.
seen-
They found a way to set it up, and imagine, like, you think that, oh, like, this is just people living in the outside world,
Yeah.
seeing the news headlines, thinking to themselves, okay, we want to relocate here. There's better opportunities here. Tax is better there. But actually,
Visa is also simpler.
they've set up systems here to invite people. And I
Yeah.
think for me, one of the most interesting ones is definitely the Creators HQ. Creators HQ is owned, I believe, by the UAE's Media Council. It's set up here in Dubai, in DIFC. But I think the entire thing, it's interesting because you know what Creators HQ does? They quite literally reach out to influencers. They reach out to them and they're like, come to Dubai, we'll give you a golden visa.
Yeah.
Like they
It's also
incentivize
actually not a
them.
golden visa now, it's a creator visa now.
But
They have a
imagine,
category
like-
for every visa
but, like,
now.
They incentivize them. They invite them in. It's not even that that creator was so smart at doing their
Yeah.
research. No, they were invited. They were poached. And I think it's that level of talent and that level of perception that they have here that is just absolutely genius. I think for you to put together a group of people who can recognize who even the biggest, by the way, like not everyone understands pop culture.
Yeah.
So for you to put together a team that understands the kind of pool that you want to bring in here, I think it's so interesting. And it's for me, what weirds me out the most is lately, Majid, we'll see such big influencers Dubai-based.
Yes.
Dubai-based.
Yes.
See, like, I'm like, what? Like,
And funnily, they'll
when
have
did you get here?
in their Instagram bio, they'll have I think what's it called, a code or something, because you have to register now with the UAE Media Council as well. If you're a finfluencer, if you're any kind of an influencer, and you do paid posts, you need a license number on your bio, so they don't penalize you. I think right now there's no fee or like fines over it, but they've told everyone to do it, and it's free for the first 3 years, so why not just do it? A lot of moving pieces in all of this, like moving from Nassef Sawiris to this, but the idea is that mainly this is the place where everyone is investing. Nassef is looking outside, but he's very smart. He's not looking at investing in anything else apart from infrastructure, because he knows US is trying to become the AI capital of the world, which is fine. It's doable. US can do it because they have Sam Altman, Elon Musk, Jensen
have the
Huang,
land.
literally everyone who is right now a big guy in AI. They have them in their country, and they want to build the infrastructure there. But the best place to build infrastructure even right now is Saudi Arabia. Low energy cost, a lot of land to build it, and cheap land. It's not like it's very expensive. It's just white land there to build on. US, you have to find places. You have to go to other states to build it. Saudi Arabia, there's so much space you can build it. UAE also, you have so much space to build it. We're building the, what was the deal? I think
And you're
50
right,
billion.
they do have
Yeah.
so much space, which gets me to my point of,
Yep.
I think we can understand why Mubadala is leaving the Turkish delivery giant. So Abu Dhabi Sovereign Wealth Fund Mubadala, which is worth $330 billion, is exploring a full exit from the Turkish delivery company Getir, Reuters reports. Now the sale would include its financing unit, Getir Finance, and car rental arm, Getir Arak. Mubadala first invested in 2021 and secured controlling stakes last year.
And talks to sell Getir Arak are reportedly at an advanced stage with Turkish rival TikTok. Meanwhile, multiple buyers, including US-based DoorDash, are circling Getir's core grocery delivery business. That is the biggest business they have. Discussions are ongoing and no deals have been finalized. That's what the sources told Reuters, highlighting strong market interest in the struggling firm.
The potential sale follows a protracted dispute between Mubadala and Getir's founders over company restructuring. Basically, what happened is earlier this year, an Amsterdam court dismissed the founders' appeal against Mubadala's plan, which the co-founders, one specifically, had denounced as an illegal coup, marking months of tension over control of the Turkish startup.
And a complete exit would represent a dramatic shift for Getir, which was valued at $12 billion in 2022. And now the company has since withdrawn from international markets amid falling consumer demand, mounting debt, and operational challenges, significantly reducing its estimated group assets $374 million, not
That
even a
is
billion.
that is like insane. That's scary. And Mubadala's move here is really underscoring its evolving investment strategy in tech and logistics. The fund's exit, if completed, would mark the end of a 4-year involvement in Getir. I think with this entire story, you can clearly tell that the founders here have a jealous streak to them.
Yeah.
I do think that's what it is, because if you take a look at the history, Mubadala pumped so many millions into them, so many rounds for them to reach that $12 billion that they even got to. Getir actually does not only operate in Turkey. If you're asking yourself, why is DoorDash trying to buy them? They're also in Amsterdam, they're in Paris. They're actually quite big. And I think what happened here, Majid, is that Mubadala had injected a lot of money at some point. They bought out a lot of stake. So what happened is they could actually have the controlling decision. And you know, when you have the most stake in the company, you basically get to make the decisions that you want to make. And I think what happened here is that when Mubadala was making certain decisions, you probably had the Getir founders thinking to themselves, nope, we don't like this. I think they even like raised a lawsuit case against them in Amsterdam. And I think that's really ugly. Look, Majid, like, you know, maybe this is very traditional of me, but I think that if you're taking someone's money, don't bite the hand that feeds you.
Yeah.
No, really. Like, why are you biting the hand that feeds you? That doesn't make sense.
Yep.
And now Mubadala was like, you know what? Like, we're sick of your pestering. We're just gonna make a full, complete exit. You can survive on your own. Mubadala does not really need them. They have like over 40% investments in the US. We saw Khaled al-Mubarak, the group CEO of Mubadala, and admit that in a video. But I think it's an end of an era. It definitely is.
And the simplest explanation is they didn't like how Mubadala ran the company, because they became eventually decision makers. You're selling it out and you want control. How does that work?
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way. I think they need some basic business education. But the idea is, coming to Getir, I remember Word did a PTC about the guy complaining, and there was a story also where they took control of it and everything.
I love the drama.
Yeah, it's very dramatic. It's a very nice story. But my problem with Getir was they are one of the people who actually, very late COVID, but they were one of the first movers. They were like Noon, to be honest, if you want to draw comparisons. And it's easier to understand that way. UAE has a population, total of UAE has a population of 10 million. Turkey, nearly it's 85 to 90 million population. The funny thing is that with this startup, you could have tapped into such a big market. And Turkey has demand for groceries, and every country in the world has it after COVID, right? So they could have tapped into a great market. They were doing good. They were valued at 12 billion. Noon now is valued at more than 10 billion, right?
Yeah.
It's the same.
In my IPO at $10 billion.
So imagine they could have done better. But they had a problem with the finances. The whole details are very technical and very difficult to understand. But according to the lawsuits and the cases that are going on and went on in the earlier stages when Mubadala took over, all of them say that it was their own financial problems. It was their own financial statements which are not correct. And then Mubadala jumped in. They were like, bro, what is this? You're embezzling money, or whatever you're doing is wrong. This is not you.
Something seems really sus here. It seems really sus, and I think
so. There were two co-founders, I think, and one of them was like, "I'm too running out," and the other one tried to stay and like get as much money out of it as possible. But it's a very simple case of not knowing how to run a business, coming up with a great idea,
I think it has
doing
to do
it.
with the board, Majid. Like, I think if you look
Board
at this
eventually
tale,
comes in, right?
I know, but if you take a look at this tale, I think that we can draw such a comparison to what happened with Majid Al Futtaim this year. Essentially, Majid Al Futtaim this year, it's such a gigantic conglomerate. What happened is that the Dubai government stepped in and they completely restructured their board.
Yeah.
I believe that they chose 5 family members, and 4 members of the board were not family. And they had changed everything. They'd chosen this guy, his name is Fadel Ali, to lead the entire board. and they had done this essentially due to the fact that they were having succession issues in the company, and this could affect the future of such a big conglomerate that is bringing so much money to the economy of Dubai. So the government stepped in and they're like, no, we don't want such a successful business to go down in shambles due to a couple people who are having a founder fight there. And I think with them, I think that's exactly what happened with Getir. I think it was a controlling issue, it was a micromanaging issue here. It was a bunch of people who were just not happy with the fact that they couldn't make certain decisions. And hey, like, look, honestly, and this is why for me, I always bring up this story, and I'll bring it up again. The guy who founded Hunger Station and Ibrahim Al-Jasimi, and then he just had to leave completely, and then he formed another company called Ninja. This is what I mean. Like,
if you know how to build, you will build it again.
Exactly. Like, he had to leave because of Delivery Hero. He had to leave because of that entire lawsuit. And so, did he cry about it? Did he make a problem about it? Nope. He left, built another company just as good as it. And I think that sometimes, like, that's what it's about. Like, you gotta, like, pick your tears up and keep it moving. You really have to keep it moving. And I don't think that's what happened here.
Moving on, someone who is making things moving, very interesting story also. Saudi billionaire Prince Alwaleed bin Talal has boosted his holdings in US social media company Snap, purchasing 15.2 million shares. His total stake now stands at 40.8 million shares, equivalent to 2.8% of the company's outstanding stock. That's what Bloomberg reported.
Now, the newly acquired shares were valued at approximately $134 million based on Monday's trading price. Now, Snap's stock has fallen roughly 20% since Alwaleed first disclosed his stake in 2018 and nearly 90% from its 2021 peak.
And Snap has yet to post an annual profit since its 2017 listing amid intensifying competition from TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. The company reported a net loss of $263 million in Q2 of 2025 this year, up from $249 million in the prior year. Revenue rose 9% to $1.3 billion.
Alwaleed, founder of Saudi-listed Kingdom Holding, is one of the kingdom's wealthiest individuals and one of the wealthiest individuals in the Middle East with a net worth of $16.5 billion. His portfolio includes stakes in Elon Musk's XAI and X. This Snap investment really is highlighting his continued confidence in U.S. tech despite market volatility.
And separately, Saudi journalist Ahmed Al-Ajlan reported that Alwaleed is preparing a bid to acquire a 75% stake in Al Hilal Football Club amid the PIF's plans to sell the club to investors, signaling his growing sports and entertainment ambitions. He is throwing money, splashing money here and there. He has a lot of money, I realized.
You know what, Majid? I know that I just said that this shows his continued support of the U.S. And yes, we've seen this in the past. But actually, no, I think this shows his love for Saudis. You know that most Saudis, like almost the entire population, uses Snapchat? They love Snapchat. I remember when my Saudi best friend, whenever she goes to Saudi, she tells me that she'll be walking somewhere, someone will just airdrop her or Snapchat. Yes, that's literally how it goes.
Nice.
Even in cafes here, like I believe like Snapchat is the land of love. I really do. I do think so. I think it's a land of love. But much more than that, I think with Alwaleed, Majid, and we never deep this enough. It's like I feel like this man knew wealth before anyone ever did.
Yeah.
I was looking at these like articles from the 1990s, and there was an article that said second richest man in the world, Alwaleed bin Talal. I was like, hold on, what?
At that point, right?
I was like, are you being serious? And it's like, I think he knew wealth. He knew money. He had that money in his hands before a lot of people ever amassed to that kind of wealth. And I think with this investment, it makes complete and total sense because Snapchat is of use in Saudi. Last year, they opened the Snapchat Majlis. This creators HQ for Snapchat. I believe it was in Diriyah in Riyadh, and this was like a big turning point for Saudi. So I think this is why he is probably going into that, because he can see how much the people around him use it.
And I think the loss-making stuff that they're saying that since 2017, they have been in loss. There's a lot of reinvestment that goes into these apps because you have to constantly reinvest, constantly make new features, new filters. But all of that goes in. I think they will make profit. It's to be honest, a lot of big companies, when you recently talk about them, you see Bloomberg articles, you see whatever Western articles. Usually they focus a lot on profit. Oh, they're not making profit. But the people who are working in those companies, they get paid on time. The creators who are on Snapchat and earn through Snapchat, they get paid on time. So if a company is actually making a loss and it's a very big, gigantic, like life-changing loss, people will not get paid in their offices. Their payments will be late. Creators' payments will be late, but I don't think that's happening. So that means the healthy balance of being in a loss but still being able to pay your expenses and your people, I think that's good. I don't mind any company facing losses until and unless they're making enough to pay their people or to pay whoever they owe the money to. And Snap is doing that. So I think it's not a bad investment. Depends what he saw. The inside news, only he can tell, or his financial people, the whole army can tell us that why they did that,
The whole army.
what they did. But I think it's a good time to buy in because the shares are down, so why not buy it? It's always a good time to buy when the price goes down. So I think that is the core of the idea what they followed, but details most probably we'll know someday. But coming back to UAE and Saudi Arabia and the son of Prince Alwaleed bin Talal, Prince Khaled, it's a very interesting story. Arada Developments, basically co-owned by Prince Khaled bin Alwaleed, the son of the man we were just talking about, and Sheikh Sultan bin Ahmed Al Qasimi from Sharjah. They both co-own Arada. So Arada has invested 2.5 billion dirhams, that's nearly $680 million in London-based Regal. The whole deal will tell you how much it costs, but right now this is the first money that they've put in. The acquisition marks Arada's push into developed markets beyond the UAE.
The deal gives Arada a 75% stake in Regal, known for its apartments, student housing, senior living, and commercial spaces. Regal's UK pipeline will be rebranded Arada London, tripling to 10,000 units across 11 projects within 3 years.
And Regal's projects include the Hayden luxury apartments in central London, very expensive, and Fulton and Fifth, an 800-home development near Wembley Stadium. Again, a rich people's place, a very expensive place. The acquisition positions Arada London. Now it will be called Arada London. And when I was looking through all the LinkedIns of Regal, the Instagram even, everything has been rebranded to Arada London. So significantly, it will expand their footprint in the UAE property market.
The transaction comes amid London's housing pressures. Bharat Redro's annual sales fell short of guidance. Borrowing costs remain high and fewer than 4,000 new homes sold in H1 2025, the lowest since 2010, according to Mollier London data.
And UAE developers are leveraging post-boom liquidity to diversify globally. If you want to understand post-boom liquidity, it's basically when the real estate boom happens, they make a lot of money. And now they have a lot of money and they don't know what to do with it. So they are diversifying. They're going out in the world to buy developers and real estate. So Arada recently invested in Australia also with 2,500 homes, while Abu Dhabi-based Modon Holding bought a 50% stake in a London skyscraper for Ken Griffin's Citadel, signaling a broader Middle East push into international real estate. And Imar, we also did the story over the weekend. They're investing. They're looking at India, US, what were the other countries? Like 2-3 other countries. They're looking at them to invest money. So it's like you had $100, you made $1 million out of it, and now you're like, okay, my running cost is $10 million. What do I do with the 90 million? Let's go out, buy companies, and invest.
I think
instead of building from ground up, just buy it.
I think with this one, it's crazy the amount of silent power that's embedded into this. 75% of such a big UK giant will mean that they have such a huge presence in the UK. And we saw how over the summer, Mohammed bin Ghati, he opened a store for bin Ghati to sell Dubai properties in Knightsbridge. So I think with this, it's like we're seeing a growing trend here, first of all. But second of all, honestly, to me, like I just see this as like Gulf investors saving the UK. I really do. We saw it with Mubadala investing into that company called Paragraph with their graphene chips. Majid, I was talking to an Emirati friend I have yesterday. She just graduated from her third year of university there, and we were all telling her, hey, like, dude, go for a master's or something. And you know what she was telling us? every year she had to pay the NHS. The NHS is basically the healthcare provider in the
National
UK.
Health
15
Services.
£15,000. Are you joking? 15,000 to the NHS?
And you don't even get an appointment.
Like, that is insane.
Yeah.
And I was fully flabbergasted. I was discombobulated. I was like, what? Like, are you joking? I am telling you, when it comes to the UK, and I think that more people need to know that we hold this power over them. These international students that are coming and paying like 90,000 dirhams to 130,000 dirhams for their degrees, giving the NHS 15,000 pounds a year, renting out all that student housing.
Yeah.
This is so much money that is going into their economy. Like, it really makes you think, what would they do without their educational services?
To be honest, when I was like trying, obviously everyone, us from countries which have weird passports, I won't say bad, weird passports, where getting a visa is a whole scenario where you have to go through 3 months of ordeals. The main idea is that they charge a UK resident £6,000 for a degree, and then they charge international students £20,000. So it's astronomically wrong, but they run this scam. I call it a scam because it should be the same fee. If it's 6,000 for a national, it should be for a foreign student. Just make the process a little difficult. So it's already very difficult. You need IELTS scores, this, that, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, that's the idea. They earn a lot from money from that. But yeah, our producer Masa is saying we have some other stuff going on. So yeah, we'll wrap up quickly, but we'll come back to this point to discuss it again.
Thank you for tuning into the Smashi Business Show. Make sure to follow us across all social media channels at Smashi Business, and stay ahead with our daily newsletter. You'll find the subscription link in the description.
This has been a Smashi Business Show, a Smashi Business production, part of the Augustus Media Podcast Network. A big shout out to our more than 2 million monthly listeners across all platforms, and a big shout out to Kirby, who is our broadcast engineer, and Masa, who is our producer. If you're one of them, we appreciate you. Have a great day. We will see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.